Hey guys, Mo Muller here, and in this video I'm going to share with you the 5 most important mistakes that most people make when buying online businesses, especially if you're a beginner. So stick with me to the end and I'll share with you the red flags as well that you definitely want to avoid when buying an online business, and these are the common mistakes that most people make when they're purchasing their business, usually for the first time. Let's get into today's video. So whether you're buying an online business or a website, a blog from a private marketplace or from a public marketplace, and I'll list some of the best kind of marketplaces that I've used in the past to buy online businesses. These are the 5 things that you definitely want to avoid when purchasing a site, and also some of the red flags that I've personally seen people fall victim to, and hopefully you won't do the same. So let's get into these 5 common mistakes right now. Now, number 1 is not having a growth plan. So you've been searching along the marketplaces or you've seen a deal that you can't refuse. The first thing you want to probably do is you just want to go ahead and wire some funds and get started, right? Now you can be excited and maybe you just want to buy the business straight away and just go off and start seeing revenue coming in on a monthly basis. But realistically, first of all, before you even think about wiring any money, you need to make sure that you have a solid growth plan. Now for me, a growth plan means a very clear and identifiable way to grow the asset from month to month and year to year. So this could be spending some of your budget on buying content or maybe even creating content or buying links. And it could also be spending content on on-page SEO and off-page SEO. Now that's one of the number 1 things that I see people that are looking to invest in the online businesses and looking to invest in niche sites and websites in general. They don't have a clear growth plan, and it's really, really important to have that along with a growth budget. So you know every single month what money should be coming in, how much money you're spending, and how much money should be going out. Now lastly, you want to make sure that when you're picking up a business, if you can, you want to make sure that there are an instant win. So something that you can do almost immediately to see some type of growth and spike in traffic or a spike in revenue. And for me, one of the best, easiest wins that I've seen is having or buying a site that does not have affiliate product tables or clickable images in their commercial pages, or doesn't have ad revenue. So they haven't added Ezoic or AdThrive or Mediavine or any of those big ad networks. So if you can do that, you're instantly going to see a boost in revenue, which is going to mean that your growth for your blog or for your website is going to be much faster than anticipated. And also you're going to get revenue a lot faster as well, which means you can reinvest or you can keep that for gains. Now the second thing and common mistake that I see people do is they buy usually above the budget that they've initially set. So let's say you have a budget of, let's say $30,000, and you really, really like a business that's in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. Now, while it may tick all your boxes and it may be something that you're really, really happy with and you've got experience in, once you've set your budget and you know exactly how much you can spend and you've got the top limit of what that is, it's best to keep within that budget, because if not, you'll find the compounding effect of buying a business that's above your budget is, number 1, riskier, and number 2, you're going to push your budget to a breaking point. So if anything happens with that website in the short term or the long term, so for example, there's a core update and you lose, let's say, 30 to 40% of your traffic, revenue goes down, and you've pushed your budget where it's not supposed to be, you're going to be under a lot of pressure to probably pay that money back, and it's just not a good way to invest in businesses. So while it's fantastic to check out other businesses, do your due diligence on other businesses as well. Once you've got a budget, whatever it's going to be, 30,000 or 300,000, 3 million, stick to the budget that you have and only maybe tweak it by small increments, just so you have a little bit of flexibility. Now, number 3, and one of probably the worst things that personally I've done myself and I've seen some of my clients in my agency do, is they don't do enough or any due diligence. Now, many marketplaces sometimes have an internal due diligence team, and they will go out and do all of the research behind the actual website themselves. They'll verify all the analytics and the revenue. They'll make sure that the owner is doing the things that he's saying he's doing or she's doing. And they'll make sure that the website is as it says it is. So pretty much what it says on the tin. Now, if you're not buying it from a marketplace and you're going to a private seller, for example, a Facebook group, you're going to have to do an extensive amount of due diligence just to make sure that the person who's selling the website and all of the revenue and traffic that they mention the website's actually making is accurate and can be verified. Now, sometimes this can take a long time, but especially if you're buying above a certain threshold and it's in the kind of higher bracket for you, you want to make sure that you do an extensive amount of due diligence. Even if it's only a few $1,000s, it still makes sense, because you don't want to risk your money just because you didn't do good research. Now, I have a 28-part due diligence spreadsheet that I use on every single thing that I buy online. If you want to gain access to it, feel free to add a comment in the box below and I will send you one over, just as a thank you for getting this far in the video. Now, number 4 on the checklist is bad communication with the seller. You'll find, especially when you start to buy businesses, multiple businesses, and they're over a certain amount, you'll find that people generally have quite a bond, a special relationship with their businesses that they've built up. Usually they've kind of started it from scratch and they've had it for many, many years. So they generally sometimes care about who they're selling it to. Now for you, that's probably a good thing, because what you can do is build rapport. explain what you're looking to do in terms of growth plan, show that you care about the business and you have maybe some type of expertise in the subject area. And that can very often give you a kind of a boost against another buyer that's coming in that's just asking about numbers and statistics, etc. So the first point is you definitely want to build rapport. And the second point is be fast in terms of your communication with the seller. Make sure that you're kind of on top and in front of the queue with all the messages that's been sent out, and do the things that you say you're going to do. So if you mentioned to the seller, can you give me 24 hours to think things over, then get back to them within 24 hours and show that you're quite reliable, because they're going to judge those factors and consider those things when you ultimately wire the escrow to a third party, or maybe if it's to a marketplace. And they'll definitely have that in their mind in terms of trusting and ensuring that you're actually going to send the money when you say you're going to send it. And again, it's these small things that really make a difference, especially when you're kind of purchasing a higher amount and you're spending more money on a business. These small nuances really make a difference in terms of selling and buying a business, which obviously you're going to be on both sides, because at some point you're probably going to sell your business too. Now, point 5 is, and probably the last point, is you buy a business that sounds fantastic. It's got all the right multiples, it's trending in the right direction, but it's in a really risky niche area, or it's maybe using a risky SEO tactic that could see the traffic and the revenue just sink and drop almost overnight. Now, personally, you need to have your own risk level, and everyone has their own pros and cons in terms of what they will and won't buy. But I would say is whatever your risk level is, keep your budget and your buying power within that risk level itself. So for example, if you're not really into shady SEO tactics like PBNs, so probably it's best that you don't pick up anything that has PBNs as its base in terms of its link networks and how it's been building its links. And on the flip side, if you have a website that looks fantastic on paper, but when you look at the traffic statistics, maybe 1 or 2 pages are responsible for 50 or 60% of the bulk of traffic. And that's pretty much quite risky in today's market, because those pages can fluctuate. If you're not happy with taking that risk, then of course you're not going to buy. So whatever your risk level is, draw the line and then don't go above that risk boundary, because of course, if things go wrong, you could lose more money than you expected to lose. So hopefully that's been an insightful video. So those are the 5 most common mistakes that people make when buying online businesses. I hope you found some value in the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.